Hello, and thanks for joining me at IT Home Lab Online. In this video, we're going to install Proxmox VE on a GMKtec Mini PC fitted with an Intel N150 processor, 12 GB of RAM, and a 256 SSD, but most importantly, dual network interface cards. This little machine is perfect for a home lab firewall setup, as these two NICs give us a dedicated WAN port and a dedicated LAN port out of the box, with no USB adapters or no extra hardware required. Now, let's get started. For this exercise, I'm using the GMKtec N150 Mini PC. The N150 is a great choice for this kind of build. It's near passively cooled, draws very little power at idle, and the dual LAN is a genuine selling point for running a firewall like pfSense or Sophos Home Firewall inside Proxmox. We're going to start by downloading Proxmox from the Proxmox website. So if you just go to proxmox.com and click on downloads, it'll bring you here. Going to download the Proxmox virtual environment. We're selecting the ISO and download this installer right here. I've already done that and copied that to my Ventoy USB stick. If you haven't seen my video about Ventoy, check out the link below. If you're using the traditional method of writing your image to a USB stick, you'll need an imager like Balena Etcher or something like that. So once you've downloaded that, then we can proceed. Okay, so I've powered on my GMKtec Mini PC, and I need to start pressing the F7 key immediately. Now there's a couple of things that you want to check in the BIOS. So we're going to enter setup first. So we want to go into security, secure boot, and make sure that secure boot is disabled. Proxmox won't install if secure boot's enabled there. And then I'll escape out of there. And the other thing you want to do is look at your boot order. You can change the boot order here, or you can just use the F7 menu again to select the USB installer. So I'm going to press F7 just as a precaution, and I will go down to Proxmox. 9.1-1 is the latest version at the time of recording this video, and just boot in normal mode. So from here, I'm going to do the install in terminal user interface, just because I don't have a mouse plugged into this machine. So this just means that I'll be able to do everything with the keyboard. We'll agree to the license agreement and go next. Actually, I will go in and change the, just confirm that it's on the on the 256 internal drive. Everything's fine there. Next, okay. So I'm going to change the country. For me, it's Australia. My time zone is Melbourne. My keyboard is US. And then hit next. Okay, so here you need to choose a secure root password. Make sure you don't forget it, obviously. And you need to put in an administrator email address. and then tab to next. Okay, so here we need to give it a fully qualified domain name. So I'm just going to call this, because this is a dual NIC machine, I'm going to call it Proxmox 2 NIC, just to identify it a bit easier on my network. I'm going to put in a static IP address. On my network, I will use 10.0.2.100 because I know that one's available. My subnet mask is 22. Yours will probably be 24. And my gateway address will be that once I've created my virtual machines and I have an internal DNS set up. This needs to be fully qualified, so I'm going to call it .ithomelab.local. Okay, everything else looks fine there, so I'll hit install. I do have another video for setting up Proxmox via the GUI if you want to plug in a mouse and do it that way. I'll include a link to that one in the description as well. This only takes a few minutes to install. And we'll reboot. I'll eject my install media. And the default option is Proxmox VE. And the install is complete. Now we're going to sign in. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do the Proxmox updates. Now, when we did this installation, we were only prompted to enter the one LAN IP address. So we need to make a modification to the network file to enable DHCP on the WAN side. So I'm going to do a nano. Now, that's our LAN side setup. What we need to do in order to get out to the internet, we need to disable the gateway on the LAN side, and we need to bring this interface up. And we want to bring it up as DHCP. So we'll save that file. Okay, now we need to restart the networking service. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to run a script that will disable the NAG warnings and also disable the enterprise features. This means that we can do our updates and things without having to pay for a subscription. So we want to start the script. Yes, I'll give you a link below to find the script as well. Okay, so the PVE enterprise repository we want to disable. The Ceph enterprise we want to disable. And we want to keep the no subscription repository. And we can keep the test repository, and that's fine. And we'll disable the subscription NAG. We're not going to use high availability for this one. And we're not going to do it through here. And we're not going to reboot just yet. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do an apt update to make sure we've got the latest packages. And we're going to do an apt distribution upgrade -y so we don't get prompted. Once this is complete, we'll switch back to our Windows machine, and then we can start to configure Proxmox and the virtual machines for our firewalls. Okay, that's completed. I'll do a reboot and switch over to my Windows machine. Now we're going to download our pfSense and Sophos software. So we'll open up a browser and we'll go to pfSense.org/download and click on the download button. Now what you need to do is you need to select the image type, which we're going to select the AMD 64 ISO image and add to cart. Once you've done that, enter the cart, go to checkout. You need to sign in and create an account. There won't be any charge to download the software. It's just one of their little idiosyncrasies, I guess, to keep a record of who's registering to use their software. So I've already done that, and I have that on my Ventoy USB stick. If you choose, you can obviously use the traditional method where once you've downloaded that to ISO, you can burn it to a USB using a tool like Balena Etcher. And then once you've done that, you basically go through the same process. Next, we'll download the Sophos Home Firewall. So we'll do a Google search for Sophos Home Firewall download. Go to the first link there. So put in your name and your email address and click the submit button. That will send you through a download link and a serial number. All Sophos firewalls needs to have a serial number, so that's their way of managing them as well. Now I've already done that also, so I will use that file from my Ventoy USB key. Next, I'm going to open up my Proxmox server. You may get a security warning the first time because we don't have a secure certificate, so it's okay to click next and proceed. Then what we'll do is go to our data center here, to our storage, go into ISO images, and we'll upload our ISO files. So this is the pfSense one. That's completed. I'll also upload the Sophos one while I'm here. Okay. Now what we need to do is set up our, make our NIC available, second NIC available to use for our guests. So I'll create a new Linux bridge, leave everything blank, and we're going to choose NIC 1. If you have a look at the default bridge, that's NIC 0, which is our LAN. So once we've done that, we can apply the configuration and say yes. Okay, so now we're going to create our pfSense virtual machine. We can leave it with the default ID and give it a name. The ISO image is the Netgate installer. System machine type will change to Q35. We can leave everything else the same. The disk doesn't need to be that large. I'm going to reduce it only because this gives me the option of taking snapshots before I make firewall configuration changes. it's always a good idea to have some sort of a rollback plan. So I should only need about 8 gig. I'm going to give it a little bit extra just in case. It's 256 gig disk, so that should allow us to do a few snapshots as well. I'll increase the number of cores to 2. The memory, because I'll only have one virtual machine running at a time, I can afford to use a little bit less. I don't want to saturate it though. Sorry, a little bit more, don't want to saturate it. Okay, so the initial NIC will be VMBR 0 next, and then click finish for that. Now that's finished creating, very quick process. So now we need to add in our secondary NIC, which will act as our WAN device. And then we can start that and go to the console. Okay, I'll accept the agreement. I want to install. So VMnet 0 is our LAN interface. So I'm going to use VMnet 1 for the LAN. We'll leave that on DHCP. That's what my requirement is by my ISP. And then we will set the VTnet 0 as the LAN interface. We'll change the IP settings to match our network. Set up a DHCP pool. Proceed. Okay. We've got our WAN set for VTnet 1 and our LAN set for VTnet 0, which is correct. We want to install CE, Community Edition. We'll leave that as the default file system type. It's only got one disk and that's selected. Last chance, destroy all disks. It's blank, so that's fine. We'll do the current stable version. Now this will take a little while. It's got to download quite a few packages. So once it gets started, I might pause the video and then resume once it's completed. Okay, so now that's done. Do a reboot. Okay, so now we should be able to go to HTTPS, proceed. The default username is admin and the default password is pfSense, all lowercase, and welcome. You can now go through and configure it. So what I'll do now is I will shut down that virtual machine. And if we look at the console, we can do that with a 6 command and say yes. Okay, so that's pfSense installed. So now we'll move on to installing the Sophos firewall. So same process as before, we create a virtual machine. We'll call it Sophos Home Firewall. Leave the default VM ID. Select our ISO image. We'll change our machine type to the Q35 again. Leave everything else as default. Now for this, we're going to create 2 disks. So we'll only create one here through this process, but we'll set this to write back and we'll leave it at 32 gig. CPU will increase the number of cores to 2. Increase the RAM to 4 gig. We're only going to be running one machine at a time on this host, so we should be fine using additional memory if needed. We'll change the network type to Intel E1000 for compatibility and finish that. Now that's created, we'll go in and add in our second hard drive on the same storage. This one will be an 80 gig drive. This is just the recommended specifications from Sophos, and right back. We'll also add in our WAN NIC. We'll just make sure our WAN NIC is the right type. And we should be able to now start our machine. Okay, so we want to say yes. This does take a little while, so I might pause the recording. Okay, now we can press a Y to reboot. This process should work for most firewalls that offer you an ISO installer for an Intel or AMD chipset. I believe FortiGate have one as well. I haven't tried it as yet. Okay, so now we'll try and sign in with the default password, which is admin. We'll accept the terms. Okay, so now we'll have a look at our network configuration. And we'll give it a moment. Okay, interface configuration. So the default IP address is 172.16.16.16, which we won't be able to get to. So we'll need to change that. And it's picked up the DHCP IP address. So we're going to set this. I'm going to use the same IP address as my pfSense virtual machine because they're not going to be turned on at the same time and they can serve the same function as a gateway. Change my net mask, suit my network. We'll leave that as it is. And although it's done, okay. So we won't set an IPv6, and now we can exit from there. So that's it. It's ready for you to sign in and configure yourself. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.